Okay, guys, so I'm about to watch the entire Home Alone franchise. Now, this is personally one of my favorite franchises. If you didn't know, a lot of people know the first two movies with Macaulay Culkin, but then they made a third one, which was relatively successful. Even had some big name actors like Scarlett Johansson, who was a child at the time. But then they made a fourth one and then a fifth one, and it kind of got out of control, and they were just begging for money. But overall, it's a very mixed franchise. But each Christmas, each December, I watch all five, and I have some love for each five. Honestly, I can enjoy all of them except for four. Four is an interesting one, but we'll get to that a little bit later. But yeah, before we get into this video, make sure you like the video and subscribe to the channel. But let's get into the video. Okay, guys, so I'm about to watch Home Alone. Now, this is a holiday classic. This is an amazing movie. The way it's set up, some people prefer the second one over this one, but I just love the classic story told in this. The whole Christmas feeling. Of course, it didn't have to be a Christmas movie, but it's just so good around Christmas with the lessons it tries to teach and everything. And honestly, once you get into the whole traps aspect, it starts to get really interesting and unfold. But I'm excited to rewatch it. I haven't seen it in a year. Macaulay Culkin is an amazing actor, child actor in this. So I'm excited to rewatch Home Alone. But let's watch it. Okay, guys, so I just finished Home Alone, and this movie, of course, is a classic. Everyone's pretty much seen it. I haven't met a person who said they haven't seen it, but just the practical effects in here, the use of humor, the story it's telling, and the message it's trying to convey really comes across really nicely. It's just so great because it's like a unique plot. Like when you're very young, you always go through that thing where you're like, I hate my family, I don't want anything to do with them. And what if that actually came true? That's what happens in this, and it's a really unique way to think about it. And then it just goes in all directions, but in a good way, with these robbers trying to get the house and everything. And the way that Macaulay Culkin can really act, even at this young age, the character's 8, but I don't know how old he was when it was filming and when it was all that stuff. But overall, he is. Oh, I almost dropped the camera. He is really great in it. All the other actors are amazing. The mom conveys pretty emotional strength in it. The subplot of the family is really good, mixing in with the main plot. You just get to see the childhood fears of a random guy when you're told stories about him. But then once you actually get to know him, it shows you don't really have to do that. You don't have to always. I don't know what I'm trying to say. But overall, it's a really enjoyable movie. And I don't know, it's just a holiday classic. I said before that it should have taken place not on Christmas, but I feel like it wouldn't have worked as well with the whole set in winter, they're on a trip, that whole thing. But then also the whole family aspect is really good for a Christmas time type of movie. And you feel the chaos to the serenity towards the end, this progression of that, and it's so amazing. So yeah, that was Home Alone, but next up we have Home Alone 2, Lost in New York. But let's watch that. Okay, so I'm about to watch Home Alone 2, Lost in New York, and this movie is considered to be pretty much meeting the standards of the second one. Some consider it to be better, some consider it to be worse, but most people agree that they are both good movies, that they're both on pretty much the same level, and it's just pretty much up to preference on which one you think is better. But I've always seen this movie. I still don't know if I like the first one or the second one. Haven't seen it in a while, so after I watch this, I'll remember maybe I like the second one better because I always love the movies where they have more world building and they aren't in a smaller location. And I know that's definitely with this movie, they have a lot more of that. So let's watch Home Alone 2, Lost in New York. Okay guys, so I just finished Home Alone 2, Lost in New York. And I'm gonna say that I probably think this movie's better. I still love both of them, but I don't know, just there's the world building in this. I love the different aspects, how it builds off of the original so well, and how it like continues with its own unique plot and everything. It's just so amazing how it does that. Of course, you got Harry and Marv back again. They aren't the most important until you get into the final act of the movie and everything. You got the bird lady, who's kind of the new creepy character that like teaches you not to judge a book by its cover. But I actually like this character better than the last one. Because like this one there's more of a connection. Then you have the whole Mr. Duncan plotline, that was amazing. The actual you get to see more time with his family and everything, that's very entertaining. And there's always a reason why. You can't be like, oh, he could have done that and it all would have went well, besides like the main plot point of he looked down to switch the batteries and everything. Besides that, like pretty much nothing else. Like everything went in the way that like it couldn't do anything. When they actually get into the actual like traps and everything at the house, those were really good. I feel like they meet the standards of the other ones. Of the first ones, there aren't as many because it's not really the main focus of this movie. They have so many different things because they also have the different scenes where he's at the hotel doing type of stuff, playing the movie and all that stuff. And overall, I love just how he gets to play around with the entirety of New York City, and the family even gets there pretty much halfway through the movie. But it's overall probably one of my favorite Christmas movies, if not my favorite. But Home Alone 2, I will say, is definitely surprising to be better than the original, even though they are both like high tier, top tier movies for me. And what was I gonna say? The acting, of course, is amazing. Everything, but costuming is so good. But yeah, overall, this is an amazing movie. And if you are gonna watch any Home Alone movies, I recommend the first and the second one, and you can just leave it there. But yeah, that was Home Alone 2, Lost in New York. Okay guys, so I'm about to watch Home Alone 3. Now this movie, after it came out of the originals, it didn't really like get as popular because it wasn't with any of the same actors or anything. But with this, they have a new character and a whole new cast and everything. But it has some like actual stars in it, like Scarlett Johansson's in this as a kid. And honestly, I think this movie is kind of underrated because I actually have seen it and I think it's pretty entertaining and definitely the better of the like non-Macaulay Culkin sequels, the best of those. But then after this, it all goes downhill. But this one I still believe to be entertaining and good. So let's watch Home Alone 3. Okay guys, so I just finished Home Alone 3. Now this movie, of course, it doesn't really compare to the first or second one, but I still think it is a very entertaining movie, as I said before. And it honestly, I really enjoyed it this time watching it. Of course, it was a little bit more like silly, I guess is the word to say, for it. And it kind of has a lot of the weirder humor that's like kind of aimed more for kids and not as enjoyable for adults, but it still is. The beginning half is like more serious than you would think, and then it kind of gets more into that silly territory. And it kind of has a spy aspect with these like North Korean terrorists trying to hunt down this kid because of his RC car. So it's kind of all over the place. Acting's it's interesting, but and of course the main character, he's not going to be as good as Macaulay Culkin, but he was still pretty relatively good. I love the traps in this movie. Honestly, the traps were really, really good. They not all of them perfectly make sense, but they still were all very entertaining to watch and everything. And then the payout at the end, because the police didn't believe him at the beginning, but now they do. So I love the whole story and the payout of everything that happens. Alex is great. He has the chicken pox. He's left home alone. It's not as Home Alone-y because he's with other people most of the film. It's just he's home alone while it happens. So it honestly could have gone by a different name and would have been as successful. But yeah, this was Home Alone 3, and I've really enjoyed it. But next up we have Home Alone for the Holiday Heist. Let me check. Home Alone 4, Taking Back the House. So let's watch that. Okay, guys, so I'm about to watch Home Alone 4, Taking Back the House. And this movie is definitely the worst of the entire franchise. The main character, the kid, is annoying. He's technically Kevin McAllister, and it's technically the same character with Harry being in it. But honestly, it's not the best. He's like in this huge mansion and everything with like, it's just so bad. And it's not like bad that's good like the fifth one is, which we'll get to later. It's just so bad that it's bad. So I don't even know what to say about it, but let's watch Home Alone 4, Taking Back the House. Okay, guys, so I just finished Home Alone 4, Taking Back the House, and let me say, this is the most time out of any movie that I've ever cringed so hard. It's not like the type of cringe that's like so bad and stuff, even though that was part of it. It's just like, I don't want this to happen, stop doing this, like, I can't watch, like, it was just so bad. From the villains, who are horrible actors, at least in this movie, they're not funny at all, to the main kid, who's the most annoying protagonist I've ever watched in the movie, the parents who add no value to anything, to the random stuff that just happens in it, and then blaming it on the kid and everything. It's pretty much just Home Alone 1, just like, I hate my family, except instead of like being separated from them, he just chooses to be separate, and they're like, oh, okay, I guess. And the parents are divorced, so trying to teach a lesson about divorce and all. But then they like kind of get together by the end of the film, which I think is kind of the opposite of teaching a lesson. If you're gonna teach a lesson about divorce, no, that's not always gonna be a happy ending or whatever. But I don't even know what's going on in this movie. It is honestly, they have a twist villain that I actually forgot about, because you have like in, I think Home Alone 1 and 2 are canon in this sense, because like Marv and Kevin know each other from different incidents, and then Marv brings up Harry at one point. But then the thing is, he's 9 in this film. In Home Alone 2, he's 10. So there's a slight place in between. The parents split up after. I honestly don't know. Don't have time to care. But the twist villain I actually wasn't expecting. But it kind of worked out well. The music, the shots, everything's just bad in this. You know, if I recommend, if you want to like hate yourself after watching a movie, then watch this movie. But yeah, that was Home Alone 4. And next up, we got the final one, Home Alone 5, The Holiday Heist. So let's watch it. Okay, guys, so I'm finally about to watch Home Alone 5, The Holiday Heist. I'm gonna say this one is better than Home Alone 4. The main character's more convincing. The villains are slightly better and everything. And there's kind of two kids, even though one's definitely the main. They have sort of like a new character, so kind of Home Alone 3-ish. I feel like it's like a worse Home Alone 3, and Home Alone 3 is already not the best movie. And it kind of goes with more of a haunting aspect at first, then it kind of goes all over the place, but I haven't seen it in a while. So let's watch Home Alone 5, The Holiday Heist. Okay, guys, so I just finished Home Alone 5, The Holiday Heist, and I definitely think this was way better than the fourth one. The fourth one, I don't know what happened to this one. This one actually compares to Home Alone 3. I thought it was better than like what you would expect. The main actor was actually pretty good. Like, I actually liked it. The sister was quite enjoyable. You did just actually see a good character arc for both of them. Like, this was surprisingly good. The villains, the girl, she is annoying. The like kind of side guy, and then the main guy, not the best. The whole side plot with the video game giant kind of acts like he's kidnapping, and then the SWAT goes to his house. That's pretty interesting. I like that actor. He seemed pretty good. Parents, annoying. Oh, I did like the dad. The dad was actually pretty funny near the beginning for the first part, but then the parents kind of phase out as the plot continues. But it's like a good portion, like first portion of the movie. You don't like really get to see any of the criminals doing like or any of the traps, which I guess is true with most of the movies, but still, it felt like um it felt long, but like it's not actually that long. It's like an hour and a half around or whatever. So it was really enjoyable. The traps were actually pretty good. It definitely felt really Christmassy. You have the whole like this, some of them like didn't have like you could have placed it anywhere, but this one really used a lot of Christmas elements in it, which was really interesting for like all the traps, snow. You just see like a neighbor friend and everything. There was a lot of cool stuff, and it was actually quite enjoyable. Better than what I was expecting. The first, it starts out a little rough, but then it gets better and better, and it's actually pretty good at the end. I feel like every character has a character arc, except for like maybe the villains and then the dad. Pretty much every other character has a character arc. You got some weird side plots in there, and it starts out as a ghost type of thing or whatever, which is kind of weird. But overall, it's really surprising. The acting was very weird. Like, the two side villains were horrible, but then, like, the actual main child actors were actually pretty good. Parents were iffy, I guess. But yeah, this is actually, I would recommend this movie if you haven't. It's definitely not as good as Second Up to 1 and 2, but I feel like this and 3 are very close on levels. We don't talk about 4. But yeah, that was all of the Home Alone movies. Okay, guys, so that was the entire Home Alone franchise. It's a very interesting franchise. Of course, they could have ended after the second one, because then it's very weird. Honestly, I think it's pretty enjoyable, and when you watch them all together, it's pretty enjoyable. Definitely a lot of different themes and a lot of different things that are like way different from when they came out, because the first one was 1990 and the last one I think was 2010 or 2011, around there. So it's very like widespread, and honestly I think it's pretty enjoyable. The fourth one you should honestly skip. That's the only one I would say that like I wouldn't really, I would say not to watch, but otherwise it's a completely decent franchise. Like the first two are amazing, and then the third and the fifth, yeah, pretty good. But yeah, overall this is, I'm just repeating myself now. But yeah, hopefully you enjoyed this video. Make sure to like, subscribe, comment down below which one of these movies is your favorite, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.